It was the bottom of the seventh inning. We were up 2-1, and it was hot, like really hot. I was sweating like a pig, but none of that mattered right now. We were so close, we could taste it. Our opponent, one of the top teams in the entire state of Wisconsin at the time. Now, they're coming to the plate, but if we can get just 3 more outs, we're going to win this game. The first guy steps up to the plate, knocks the dirt off his cleats. He's the fastest kid I've ever seen before. After high school, he went on to play college football. Great athlete. He pounds the ball into the dirt to the third baseman. We know it's going to be a close play, but he picks it up, rifles it to first, beats him by a half a step, 2 outs to go. Now, let me pause for 1 second. You need to know that my high school baseball team, awful. Absolutely terrible. We had a few good players. Most of them weren't good at all. Jesus loves them. Baseball, not their spiritual gift. We were in one of the most competitive conferences in the state. Rice Lake, Wisconsin is where I'm from. We were the smallest school in a huge conference. We had like 800 kids. Most schools had anywhere between 1,500 and 2,500. So they're all 2 to 3 times the size of us. It was truly a David versus Goliath type of situation here. But unlike David, we never won. Instead, we got pounded by Goliaths who threw baseballs 90-plus miles an hour and went on to play Division I college baseball. So, needless to say, this win meant a lot more to us than it did to them. Back to the story. Second guy steps up to the plate. He works the count in his favor. He's waiting on the perfect pitch, one that he can hit hard, and he gets it. Hits the ball so hard that everybody in the whole stadium holds their breath. Center fielder turns, goes on a dead sprint towards the fence. Last second, we think that he's going to get burnt. We're going to lose this game. He reaches out his hand, and we hear the umpire shout, 2 down. He caught the ball. Now we only have 1 out to go before victory is ours. I think there is no possible way this is happening right now. Could this be real? Pinched myself. It was real. Now, pause one more time. We've been here before. I mean, we've been really close to beating really good teams, but it never happens for us. We always find a way to blow it at the end of the game. So all of our shortcomings are coming into my mind when potentially the best player in the entire state at the time steps up to bat. He ends up playing for Ohio State in college. His brother played for Florida State and ended up in the major leagues. This kid is legit and is amazing. He's the third out that we need to win this game. Back to the game. He steps up, looks towards my friend Colton on the mound. Pitch comes in, curveball, watches it go past him, strike 1. Looks back, not worried. Ball 1 comes in. Ball 2 now. The count's back in his favor. Third pitch, huge swing and a miss. Counts 2-2. It all comes down to this. I see the sign given by the catcher from shortstop where I'm playing a curveball. My friend Colton rears back with everything he has, and he spins this pitch perfect. It looks like it's coming right down the middle of the plate. Last second, dives into the dirt, and a very good hitter, looks like an idiot, swings over the top, third out. We did it. We just beat one of, if not the best team in the state. And that's the story of my junior year when the Rice Lake Warriors won their only game in 2 years. Embarrassing? Yeah. I mean, like I said, we were bad, okay? But nobody could have told us that on this day. We were like kings. We were on the top of the world, walking with swagger. Nobody could touch us. Why do I tell you this? Most of you probably don't even care about baseball. Do they even play baseball in South Dakota? I don't know. Here's why. Here's what I want you to know. You play to win, and when you win, it feels good. Winning makes an impression on you that you don't soon forget. That's how I remember all of those details over 10 years later. Nobody plays to lose. If you do, you're not actually playing. You're just taking up space. I say you give up your spot and you let somebody else play. Don't believe me? Ever won a prize? Ever won a competition with your friends? Ever won at a family game night or an important sporting event? Did you feel bad after? No. You felt good because you play to win, and when you win, it feels good. Now, some of you may argue, I'm not competitive, or I just play for fun. Okay, well, that's nice, but why do they keep score in sports then? Okay, why do they have all sorts of TV shows where there is one winner and a bunch of losers? People like competition. It's just the way it is. Do you know what I call a game where there is no winner? I call that ice skating. I mean, if you ever do win, it still kind of feels like you lost because you're good at ice skating. A game where there's no score, I call that lame. I want no part of it. Might as well just watch a movie with your friends, eat popcorn, chill. Just kidding. Sorry if you ice skate. It's just humor. I'm trying to make a point with humor, okay? So just laugh at yourself. It's okay. Now, let me be clear. There's definitely more to life than winning and losing, absolutely. But I think we all have the desire to be good at something, right? Like maybe even the best, to excel at things. A desire to win is good. If you can't handle losing or if winning consumes you, that's definitely problematic. But a desire to win is not a bad thing. It's a good thing. We all know people that take it too far, that need to take a chill pill. I mean, losing can be good. It can be a master teacher, right? But you shouldn't be surprised then that those who follow Jesus want to win too, but not like you might think. When you follow Jesus, you want to do your best. You want to win. You want to be good at it because it matters. It's worth doing well. Now, Jesus referred to this when he talks about our passion, and he says that if we're lukewarm and half in, he'll spit us out. The problem is that I think we get confused about what being good at following Jesus is really all about and how do we do it. I think a lot of us want to know, how do we know if we're doing it well or if we're totally failing at this thing? Most of us may think it's something like going to church and having a good attendance at church or youth group, not saying swear words, playing Christian music, reading our Bible, praying sometimes, all of which may be good, but are not the point. The good news for us is that when we read in God's word, there are people who wrestle with the same things we do. And the story we're going to read tonight is all about this day when two guys come to Jesus and they ask him, how do we be the best? And I want to read you this story and just pick it apart a little bit, give us a few things we can learn about what it means for us, and then I want to send you into small groups. So if you have a Bible, we're going to read from Mark 10:35 to 45. If you do not have a Bible, you can just check it out up here. We have it all on the screen. So I'm going to give you a second. If you're looking there, look up at me and give me a thumbs up, okay, if you're there. If you're not there yet, say, hold up. And if you don't care and you're going to look up here, say, don't care. Fantastic. Great. Here we go. Mark 10:35 to 45. Here's what it says. James and John, Zebedee's son, came up to him. Teacher, we have something we want you to do for us. What is it? I'll see what I can do. Arrange it, they said, so that we will be awarded the highest places of honor in your glory, one of us at your right, the other one at your left. Jesus said, you have no idea what you're asking. Are you capable of drinking the cup I drink, of being baptized in the baptism I'm about to be plunged into? Sure, they said. Why not? And Jesus said, come to think of it, you will drink the cup I drink and be baptized in my baptism. But as to awarding places of honor, that's not my business. There are other arrangements for that. Now, when the other 10 heard this conversation, they lost their tempers with James and John. So Jesus gets them together and settles things down. You observe how godless rulers throw their weight around, he said. And when people get a little power, how quickly it goes to their heads. It's not going to be that way with you. Whoever wants to be great must become a servant. Whoever wants to be first among you must be your slave. That is what the Son of Man has done. He came to serve, not to be served, and then to give away his life in exchange for many who are held hostage. Jesus knows that we have a desire to be good, to be celebrated, and to win. And I'd love to point out just a few things we learned from this passage, and it's all around the idea of service. Now, we're in a series called Join Me. You may have seen that when you walked in. And we're talking about these things called spiritual disciplines or spiritual practices. And sometimes we think of these things as things God tells us to do, right? You should do this. Like a list of chores, so when we don't do them, we feel kind of bad because we let our dad down. We say things like, I probably should read my Bible more, or I know I should pray more. But if we have this view, we've already missed the point. Because all of these practices are an invitation from God to be closer to him. It's like God is looking at us and saying, join me and know me closer than you ever have before. Do you want to grow in your faith? Practice these things, put them into action, and see what happens. Last week, Ryan taught us that study, or reading our Bible, and prayer were key spiritual practices that God invites us into and are such a gift to us. Now, today we're going to talk more about service. So last week, Ryan focused on a couple of practices that were inward, things that we do that shape us on the inside. And today we're moving into a practice that is outward, that we do outwardly that shapes us as well. So, back to the conversation on being the best. I want you to turn to a neighbor. I want you to tell them something you're really good at. You don't have to be the best at it, but something you're good at, something you excel at. Each of you gets like 20 seconds. I'll tell you when to switch, okay? So if somebody's sitting alone, go talk with them. Something you're really good at. Ready? Go. Switch. All right, let's bring it back. Finish up telling them that you're awesome, and let's focus. When it comes to following Jesus, there are some things that he teaches that turn being the very best completely upside down. What he teaches really doesn't make sense at first. He says that if you want to be the best, make yourself the least. Humble yourself and serve. It's very opposite of the message that we hear every single day in our world. In the world, I think we hear things like being first means working hard, getting ahead, being impressive, being loud, powerful, confident, maybe even a little cocky if you need to. But Jesus teaches us what it really means to be the best and how to win as a Jesus follower. And it is all about serving. Let's learn how to win at following Jesus in this area of serving from different people in this story, okay? So there's 3 different groups or people in the story, and I want to learn something from each of them and then send you into small groups. First, let's learn from James and John, the ones that come to Jesus and say, "Let us sit at your right hand and the other at your left," to which Jesus responds, "You don't know what you're asking." You see, Jesus knows that wanting to be good or to win is not the problem. It's the fact that they want to win for their glory and not for God's glory. For us, we need to humble ourselves and make winning about God's name being lifted high, not our own. Serving sometimes means that in life, it's not all about us. And it reminds us of that fact. Jesus modeled that. Serving is not about being powerful or about being noticed. It's not about selfish gain. There is no room for pride. Serving takes true humility. It can't be about us anymore. It's about God and about his kingdom being great, not about us being noticed. When God wins, we win. And oftentimes, when we serve well, we will go completely and totally unnoticed. That takes humility. Second, we can learn from Jesus too. He says, "Can you drink of the cup or be baptized with the baptism?" It's kind of a confusing part of the passage. But what I think he's getting at is that serving requires you to die to yourself. That sounds like suffering to me. Following Jesus isn't about you again. It's about God's glory and about others experiencing that. He's getting at the suffering it takes to let your life be a gift to other people. Again, it's not about your own gain. Do you guys remember the story in the Bible of when Jesus got down on his hands and feet and knees and washed people's feet to show just how much he loved them? So I want you to ask yourself, do I serve people to be noticed or to feel good about myself because I truly love God and love people? I'm going to ask you another question, something I've heard a lot of students do. They will come to me with a sheet of paper and say, "Will you sign off? I'm going to serve so that I can get my hours for this thing." Do you do it to meet the criteria for a class or to be in a certain group, or do you do it because you actually love people? Now, you could do both, right? Like, you could actually love people and fill hours, but I found that a lot of students come to me to fill hours, not because they want to love people well. Serving takes sacrifice. Again, it can't be about us anymore. Third group of people, learn from the 10. That's 10 of the 12 disciples minus James and John. It says that they became indignant with James and John. That means they were annoyed or really angry with them. So do you get annoyed with people who always want to win? Are you kind of like that? Maybe you're the person that was like, I'm not very competitive. Okay? These guys might understand you. But I think it might be because they want to be celebrated too. But there is no room for power or position in God's kingdom where you get to feel above people or better than. You're not above those you serve. We're supposed to become like servants, one who loves people genuinely, and that takes surrender. It's understanding that God's way is the best way, and because we've received God's love, we then get to share it with other people. Now, I just want to conclude. I've heard that when you say in conclusion, most of the people in the room will focus in again. So let me just say that really quick. In conclusion, great. I will recap everything we've just talked about. We all want to win at things. Winning feels good. When following Jesus, he says that winning isn't how we'd normally think of it. Winning in God's kingdom is about service. And being a servant to Jesus and therefore to people he loves, which is everyone. To serve in the way that he calls us to serve, it takes humility, it takes surrender, and it takes sacrifice. And if we do this well, we can show people the love and the grace that God has shown us. And we want to give you a couple ways to do that, okay? So, we have a couple of events that if you guys are interested in saying, hey, I want to know God better, great. I want to learn more about him. I want to be closer to him. Let's give you a couple of options and opportunities to do just that. So if you got a phone out and you're interested, I'm going to tell you to put this down so that you can join us and we'll do it together, okay? First thing, downtown campus on November 22nd. That's maybe like a couple Sundays away or something like that. Right after second service, help the staff by setting up for Christmas, okay? Any student can show up. It doesn't matter what campus you go to, but this is available here at downtown campus. So if you go to West Campus, doesn't matter. Just come and show up right after second service. They'll feed you pizza and we'll help get this thing ready for the Christmas season. That's one opportunity. Second opportunity is this Saturday at 9 a.m. You don't actually have to text that. I'm just trying to tell you about it. Is this thing we do called the turkey giveaway. How many of you have participated in this before? Maybe with your family. A bunch of people, okay? So I'm extending an invitation to you. If you're in the room, you are invited to this, okay? This Saturday, 9 a.m., come here to downtown campus, worship with us, and then help the teens team be a welcoming committee to all the people who are going to go and serve turkeys, okay? So just show up here. You don't have to sign up or anything. Just show up, look for some of our staff, and we'll tell you what to do next, okay? This is an opportunity for us to love people and to love God. So if you want to do that, we would love to invite you. That's it for me. I'm going to send you guys to small groups. We're going to pull up a slide real quick, and I'm going to tell you where you're going. I think there is one change to this before you guys leave. If you are an 8th grade boy, you are actually downstairs, not in Revolution. What's the other one called? Discovery. Okay, if you're an 8th grade boy, that's where you're meeting. Everybody else, your room is up here. If you have no idea where that room is and you're brand new tonight, come up here and talk to me. I'll tell you where to go. All right, thanks, guys.